Hey guys, welcome to the video. Salt here. Today we're going to be taking a look at the fan favorite weapon of Warframe, the Ignis Wraith. Now in this weapon series, I take a weapon, I build it out, and I test that weapon on its own merits, meaning I don't mix it with any kind of external factors that would increase weapon performance. That would be things like Warframes using abilities, pets putting statuses on the enemies, Archon shards, things like that. I just test the weapon, built out by itself, and I let the viewer make their own intelligent conclusions about what would happen if you add those external things. So, the Ignis Wraith was suggested by commenter Ozan Mutlu Dursun, and so that's why we're doing it today. And we have our top commenter and our first commenter, which is the same person from the last video, the Opticore video, with John McPudding. So, let's get into the Ignis Wraith here. So, it's a little flamethrower. But it's a beam weapon. So the visual is that it's a flamethrower. And it is a flamethrower, but it's a beam weapon. So don't let that kind of fool you. You can actually get very easy headshots with this. So, okay. So for the build, and I did a metric butt ton of testing this morning. So before we go over the build, I want to go over interesting things about the Wraith first, and then I have kind of a spreadsheet where I did my testing. So interesting things about the Ignis Wraith is that it's going to have innate heat, so you get heat for free, which is really nice. It's a good element. It's a beam weapon with 27 meters of range, and the beam is going to be a pinpoint accurate beam, and when it hits a target or its maximum range, it's going to have a 3-meter radial effect. The targets hit by that radial effect, multi-shot is not applied to them, so just keep that in mind. But it's still nice that it does that. So it's a beam, and when it hits a target, it's going to have a 3-meter radial effect. The weapon also has infinite body punch-through, which is super nice. Infinite body punch-through is different than regular punch-through, in just that it can't shoot through soft terrain. Regular punch-through can shoot through soft terrain, infinite body punch through can't, but infinite body punch through can shoot through as many targets as possible. So that's nice. I think that's pretty much it with all the interesting things about the Ignis. So I think we can get into our testing spreadsheet here first. So bring this up here. Okay, so this is the Ignis Wraith. I did this testing on Steel Path Draco. The reason I picked Steel Path Draco is because it is Grineer enemies, and they have vulnerabilities to corrosive as far as elements go, and we're not testing corrosive, which is fine, because it doesn't affect anything. And they have no resistances to elements, so that didn't affect anything. So I thought Draco was a good place to test this. So these are the kill counts for 5-minute runs. I tested viral, and HM is Hunter Munitions. I tested viral and heat. I tested gas and electric, and then I tested gas and electric, but I switched around some mod slots. So with the last test with gas and electric, I took off galvanized scope and my fire rate mod, and I used galvanized aptitude and rifle elementalist, which is the new mod that came out. So let's go over all these first. So let's start with the viral hunter munitions. So in its runs, it got 476 kills, 485, 479, for a total in 3 runs of 1,440 kills. Tested viral heat next with 465, 421, 459, with a total in 3 runs of 1,345 kills. Tested gas electric next, with the same build as the viral hunter munitions and viral heat, other than those mods. So gas and electric, 394, 434, and 497 kills, with a total in 3 runs of 1,325. There was an outlier there. You see the very first run with gas and electric was very low compared to the others. With AoE heavy builds with gas and electric, or blast. We didn't test blast here. I started to test blast, but blast was doing so poorly, I just gave up on the testing because it was absolutely horrible. But with AoE type weapons, you're at the mercy of tile sets, the spawns, how enemies are grouping up, things like that. And so the AoE builds have a lot of variables. So sometimes they can do really good, and there probably are situations where it would beat Viral Hunter Munitions, but then there's going to be, other situations where they do really bad, and they're going to do way, way worse than Viral Hunter Munitions or Viral Heat. Whereas like Viral Hunter Munitions and Viral Heat are going to be consistent. So for me to consider a Gas Electric or an AoE heavy build, it has to be doing hundreds of kills more than the consistent builds. And in this case, we actually see it's doing worse. So Gas Electric is not an option. And then lastly, I tested, because I was like, okay, let me lean in fully into status. Let me lean in fully, because Gas Electric is a lot of AoE dot. And, Rifle Elementalist increases element damage. So that should be like the prime candidate for Rifle Elementalist. And I took off Scope, and I just put on Galvanized Aptitude for more status chance and a little bit more flat damage. And it got 439, 478, and 406 kills in 3 runs for a total of 1,323 kills. So this also didn't do very good. So all the numbers were very similar to each other. Like all 4 of these tests were very similar. It's just that the last 2, the Gas Electric and then the Gas Electric with mod changes, those are situational. Those are AoE builds. And if they are at the same kill count as the ones that are not situational and are consistent, then I don't want to play them. I want to play the consistent stuff then. They have to beat the consistent stuff by hundreds of kills for me to consider them. So for that reason, your best builds on the Ignis Wraith are going to be Viral Hunter Munitions or Viral Heat. Viral Hunter Munitions did beat out Heat by like 100 kills, but keep in mind there is some subjectivity to this. If I was to redo these tests, maybe I get more lucky with Viral Heat, maybe I get less lucky with Viral Hunter Munitions, and maybe Heat wins out. So I think Viral Hunter Munitions or Viral Heat, you would be very happy with the Ignis Wraith. So, okay, let me stop running my mouth on this test here. We'll go back to gameplay, and we'll show the mods off. Okay, so we're going to have Galvanized Chamber for multi-shot. We're going to have Galvanized Scope for critical chance. Now, the Ignis Wraith has pretty good crit multiplier. It's similar to the Nuke War, where it doesn't really have great crit chance, but it has good crit multiplier. And to bank on that crit multiplier, you need to get your crit chance up. You need to get your crit chance up to at least 100%. Because if it's under 100%, you're actually still producing white non-criticals that do not get any crit multiplier factored in. So with just critical delay, we're only at 51% crit chance. So half of our damage isn't even getting a critical multiplier applied to it. So Galvanized Scope actually increases it. I don't know what it increases it by 320%. And I think it ends up being about 105 to 110-ish% crit chance. So that's always a critical and a small chance for an orange crit. So it's mostly going to be a yellow crit with a small chance for an orange crit when you're at max Galvanized Scope stacks. And, you might not think this. It's a flamethrower. Like, well, how are you going to get headshot kills? It's very easy. It's a beam weapon. Stop thinking it's a flamethrower. It's a beam weapon. As long as you aim head height, you don't even have to aim well. It has infinite body punch through. So as long as you aim head height, you're going to get a crap load of headshot kills. So super easy. Okay. Vial Acceleration next for the Fire Rate mod. I love my Primed Shred, but there's no reason to use Primed Shred on this build because you have infinite body punch through. There's no reason to use Primed Shred because you don't need that punch through. So we can use Vial Acceleration for 90 Fire Rate, which is the strongest Fire Rate mod. Then we're going to have Hunter Munitions. Hunter Munitions has a 30% chance to turn a critical into a slash proc. Because we are always critting on this build, we're going to get a crap load of slash procs. So, increasing your critical chance over 100% also affects Hunter Munitions and its efficacy. Critical Delay, Crit Chance mod. Vital Sense, Crit Damage mod. And in the last 2 slots, we're going to have our Viral. So we're going to go with Malignant Force. And we're going to go with Rhyme Rounds to make Viral. Now, the weapon still has innate heat. So even though we're going with the Viral Hunter Munitions build, we actually still have heat because the weapon has innate heat. Our heat weighting is not as much as our Viral. It's still a bit lower, but it's okay. You're still going to easily be able to get enemies to the point where they're at their maximum strip that heat can get you. Heat can't full strip, but you can still get to the maximum heat strip. So that's why I think it's important to use both 60/60s. I was considering maybe putting primed cryo over rhyme rounds. That would increase like your upfront damage, but I believe you'll actually get more use out of rhyme rounds because of the status chance. You'll get 2 maximum viral procs quicker with rhyme rounds because you have more status chance. You'll be producing more heat procs. You'll be producing almost no heat procs if you go primed cryo, because then your viral weighting's way friggin' up there. So with rhyme rounds, you still have a pretty damn good chance to get a lot of heat procs as well. Okay. In the Exilis slot, we're going to go with Sinister Reach. Remember, this weapon has a 27-meter range. Sinister Reach is going to plop it out a little bit longer. I can't do math very well. Let me see. 27 plus 12, is that 39? I think it's 39 meters. So it's still not super long range, but I mean 39 meters is pretty decent. And then in the Arcane slot, we're going to go with Primary Deadhead. Primary Deadhead is going to give us 360% flat damage, a plus 30% headshot multiplier, and negative 50 weapon recoil. We do not need the weapon recoil. This thing doesn't have any recoil. The headshot multiplier is kind of nice. I actually like Deadhead more because the stacks last for a long time. The stacks last for 24 seconds each, so they don't fall off very quickly. Merciless is easier to get stacks because all you have to do is get a kill, whereas Deadhead you have to get a headshot kill. It's not that hard to get a headshot kill either, but Merciless is easier because you just need a kill, but the stacks fall off a lot quicker. They don't last for the full 24 seconds that Deadhead does. So if you have to go for like a life support, if you have to like maybe move tile sets, you're going to start losing Merciless stacks quicker than you're going to lose Deadhead stacks. So I think they're both decent though. If you like Merciless over Deadhead, pick Merciless. That's okay. And that's the build for the Ignis Wraith. Now, I set up another little build for new players, and it's because the Ignis Wraith is like the prime weapon to be using to do your star chart. You can do it's definitely the best regular star chart weapon in the game. And you could probably do your Steel Path star chart with this bad boy too. Especially with this build. Maybe not with the starter build, but with this build, you could definitely do the Steel Path star chart. But yeah, let me show the starter build here. And if anyone in the comment section wants to like add on to the starter build, because I've been at my level for so long that maybe my view is like skewed. Like I can't remember where you get Argon Scope, if it's very difficult to get. So if you think anything in the starter build maybe can get like switched around, make sure you let me know in the comments. So starter build. You're not going to have the galvanized mods because you're going to be a newer player. So you're going to use split chamber instead of galvanized chamber. It still gives you multi-shot, gives you a little bit less multi-shot, but that's okay. You're going to use Argon Scope instead of galvanized scope, and this still gives you crit chance. Just make sure you're aiming. You have to aim in to actually have this under effect, which is fine. We're still going to go with viral here, except you probably aren't going to have the 60/60s. Now, if you have the 60/60s, use them over the 90s. But the 90s you're going to pick up pretty early in the game. So you can just use the 90 Toxin and the 90 Cryo rounds to make viral. And then in the last slot here, you're going to use heat. Now, just remember, as a new player, the game reads things from left to right, or up and down, left and right. Okay? So it's important with the order. If you want viral and heat has to be behind or after. After is a better word. Has to be after viral. Okay? So the way the game reads this is, no element, toxic, no element, cold. So now it's going to mix that toxic and the cold to make viral. And then it reads heat. So then it's going to be viral heat. If you were to have this heat somewhere else, it's going to read it differently. So as a new player, make sure you're ordering your element mods correctly. For the fire rate mod, use Speed Trigger. It's a pretty easy mod to get. And it's only 90 fire rate less than Vile Acceleration. For the Crit Chance mod, you're going to use Point Strike. This is easy to get. It's only 50 crit chance less than, Critical Delay, I think, on the main build. But yeah, so use Point Strike here. And you're going to use Vital Sense for crit damage. Again, I think, Vital Sense is pretty easy to get. I can't remember. Correct me in the comments, though, if Argon Scope and Vital Sense might be a little bit hard to get for new players. I'm not sure. And of course, Thermite Rounds is hard to get. Use the 90 heat here. I just didn't have mod capacity to actually to fit the 90 there because I had the wrong polarity. So Thermite Rounds, I think, is actually quite hard to get. So yeah, don't use the 60-60 if you're a new player because you probably don't have it. All right, yeah, that's a new player-friendly build there. And then as you get mods, as you start getting things, then just upgrade them to the main build here. You know, if you get Galvanized Chamber, then upgrade your other chamber into the Galvanized Chamber, or upgrade your Argon Scope into Galvanized Scope. So, okay, enough with that. I think that is it for the build. So I'm going to show this off in gameplay. So because I don't mix this with any kind of externals, I'm going to be doing this on a big, dumb Anaros with no Archon shards that increase weapon performance, no mods or arcanes on the Anaros that increase weapon performance, and with a pet with no Sentinel weapon and no mods on the pet that increase weapon performance. That way we could just look at the Ignis Wraith, see how it does on Steel Path, and you know, you can make your own judgments. So, okay, no more Draco. I did enough of that this morning. We'll do the mot that we usually do for our testing. You're going to see me cast this ability once in a while. This one just gives me armor and status immunity. It doesn't do anything as far as like affecting weapon performance.
They have just shut down all systems. I'm sending life support capsules your way.
The other thing with the gas electric build is that it felt very bad shooting enemies. Like you were very much at the mercy of hoping multiple enemies were in the area so you could have multiple gas clouds. Like if you had a single enemy, it felt way worse than Viral Hunter Munitions or Viral Heat. I think Viral Heat is at the same level as Viral Hunter Munitions. It's just that Viral Hunter Munitions, you also get heat. You just don't get a crazy heat weighting. If you go full Viral Heat, then you get a better heat weighting where you get more heat procs. So the Ignis Wraith is probably one of the most powerful weapons on non-Steel Path in the entire game because it doesn't really require a lot of skill here. Like, has it looked like I was going for crazy headshots so far? Like, it hasn't, but guess what? I've almost maintained full galvanized scope stacks this entire time. I say that, and I was down at like 3. So, like, it's not hard to get the headshot kills. Just aim head height and just kind of... and you'll be good. You'll get them. I have so much form in this weapon. I think this is my most formed weapon because over the years, I have gone through like periods where I'm like, I think Viral Heat is going to be better than Viral Hunter Munitions, and I'll switch it. I'll spend Forma and I'll switch mods around, and then there'll be another year where I'm like, I think Hunter Munitions is actually better, and then I'll switch it around. So I've spent so much Forma going back and forth between Viral Heat and Viral Hunter Munitions. And then today with the testing, we kind of just came to the conclusion they're both about the same. So you'll be happy either way. There's Vor. I don't know how it's going to do against Vor. Probably not very well. Yeah, not super well. I don't want to waste so long fighting Vor. We'll get our kill counts up for our 10-minute kill count, so we can, when we do the tier list eventually, maybe the Ignis will be higher up there. But yeah, I never finished my my thought that I was trying to say. So yeah, this is probably the strongest non-steel path weapon. But on steel path, it definitely starts losing a lot of its efficacy. Like it's still good. Like I mean, you're seeing it's still killing things like super friggin' easy, but it's no longer like the best and easiest weapon on steel path, which I think is okay. I think if a weapon is OP in like starter content, it's okay that it's not the best on steel path content, because that would be boring, right? You would just always use the Ignis for every piece of content. Against the Acolyte, it's going to be very average. It's going to feel like a basic assault rifle, so it's not going to do impressive damage against the Acolyte. The setup that actually does impressive damage against the Acolyte, weirdly, is Gas Electric. Gas does really good against the Acolyte. And it's because you can kill little dudes, and you'll produce a lot of gas clouds, and when the Acolyte tries to run to you, he has to run through all those gas clouds, and it'll like insta-kill the Acolyte. So Gas Electric has like a weird effect where it's actually really good against the Acolyte. Yeah, I tried Blast out too. So we were talking in clan chat, and there was some people asking, did you test Blast? And I'm like, oh shit, I didn't test Blast. I didn't think it was going to do good because in our faction testing, let me make sure I get air and don't forget about that. In our faction testing, Blast and Gas Electric needed higher alpha damage to beat out like the old meta of Viral Slash or Viral Heat. And this does not have good alpha damage. This has very low alpha damage. It has good DPS, but it has absolute horrible alpha damage. I hate these Guardian Eximuses. There we go. And I started testing Blast because I was like, oh, maybe I should test Blast anyway. And oh my goodness, it was horrible. It was horrible. It was so painful I couldn't do my 3 runs on it, so I didn't even add it to the spreadsheet. I did half of a single run. I did half of one run with Blast. Not Blast Electric, just Blast. And I was like, yeah, nope. No Blast on the Ignis, please. But it was worth trying. You never know until you actually do your testing and see. I've been surprised before at certain element combos and how they interact and how they work. The Phantasma was another one that kind of surprised me, because we were saying it has to have good alpha damage, and when the Phantasma is built out, the actual damage of it is not that bad. The actual damage of it is like a couple of thousand damage per shot. So you would think it might do really well in Gas Electric, because in our testing that's kind of what was happening. But I tested the Phantasma because I was like, oh, maybe the video that I put out on the Phantasma, because that's before I did the element testing, I was like, maybe that's wrong, because maybe like Viral 100 munitions is not the way to go. And so I tried Gas Electric, and it was horrible. It was booty. So the old Phantasma build is still the appropriate one to use. So that's why all of these weapons are going to have to be on a case-by-case basis. I'm going to have to like test the current like top contenders for elements against each other, and then we'll come to the conclusion on like what is actually better for each weapon. I kind of like that though. I like the new way where it requires like brain work. Before it was like, put Viral and 100 munitions on every weapon in the game, and that's it. Just shut your brain off. And I didn't like that. It was kind of a boring meta. Viral 100 munitions is still powerful, and it's still the best on certain builds, but not all of them. So, all right, we're at 7.5 minutes. Got 2.5 minutes left, and then we'll see at 10 what our kill count is. I changed the format up. So I used to do these runs, the 10-minute runs on Kuva Survival. And on Kuva Survival, the quote-unquote average, like an average steel path weapon, would get 350 to 450 kills. So I don't know what the average on Steel Path Mott is going to be until we do more testing, like more runs with ranged weapons. But if we take the old like Kuva Survival, you can kind of get a general idea, but it's probably not going to be the same as Kuva Survival. What is average anymore? You know what I have to do? I have to get the average weapons that score to average and do Mott with them, and then see what like the new average is. That would be like the Kuva Carrick. The Kuva Hind, I think, also is average. Or is it above average? I can't remember if the Hind was above average or average. Man, Vor is just living his best life. Maybe I should try to kill him. We got Misery here. Misery is the Necros Acolyte. He's not super dangerous initially, but the longer you play Steel Path missions, the more dudes he's going to summon.
The Tenno are lost, and they will resist. But I, Vor, will cleanse this place of their impurity.
All right, 20 seconds, and then we'll see where we're at here. I think this is going to do pretty good. I'm going to guess 600s. I think it's going to be in the 600s. Maybe it'll surprise us, though. I mean, it is an infinite body puncher weapon. Infinite body puncher weapons can get a lot of kills. All right, 10 minutes in. Ooh, 886? Oh, my goodness. 886. Okay, that's pretty good. That's more than I thought I was going to do. Again, we don't know what the average is for Mott, but if you're going to compare this like our old averages or our old like what we would consider meta, this would actually be in the meta category. So I don't know. We'll have to see what our new averages is for Mott, because 886 is pretty friggin' high. You know, it does have weaknesses, though. As you saw, it wasn't very good at killing super heavy targets like bosses. So it's not good at killing like Vor, Acolytes, things like that. Probably Void Angels, not good at killing Void Angels. Anything that's like a boss, not super good, because they can only stack statuses to 4. But that's why you have other weapons. I mean, obviously, if you're using the Ignis Wraith, you could have like a secondary or melee weapon that quickly kills the Acolyte. So the Ignis Wraith itself is not going to be a great Acolyte killer. But as far as trash and Eximuses and like heavy trash units like gunners and stuff, pretty damn good. Pretty damn good. So yeah, that's the Ignis Wraith, guys. If you liked the video, consider giving it a like. If you haven't subbed yet, consider subbing or tell me what I can do to earn your sub. And thanks for watching, guys. You guys have a great day. Bye.